huge part of the work I do is asking reflective questions, and I'll continue that here today because I think it's important. What if your greatest limitation isn't how smart you are, what surrounds you, or your ability to stay motivated? What if? But what if it's actually the picture and the story that you've accepted of yourself? What if that is actually what the limitation was? Because a lot of us can spend our entire living life trying to change our circumstances because that's the easiest thing to do. But what if the primary friction point is how we see ourselves? And what if that story is outdated? It's a huge question, and I'm gonna get into it. And self-perception is something that I always think a lot about, because I believe it's a foundational to really get the story right and understand where you stand with yourself. But you don't have all the answers. I don't have all the answers. So, wondering and thinking about how much of our lives are shaped by the stories that we've created for ourselves, it's a lot to think about. And none of us, again, including myself, developed our own self-perception by being by ourselves, right? I mean, this is something that's been developed over a lifetime. Upbringing, the household you grew up in, community, your culture, subculture, where you're from, what people have told you, how people built you up or brought you down, friendships, your ability to the successes that you've had in your life or the failures, all that shapes it. And another big one not to miss is the criticisms that, we've been given to us in our lives, whether those criticisms were accurate or not. But all these things shape the picture of who we are right now. And this is why it's a question I always come back to. What if that picture isn't always accurate or completely accurate? Because most likely it's not completely accurate if it's playing a role in leaving you stuck or leaving you in a position to where you feel like you can't move forward for whatever reasons. Our minds help create stories to make sense of what's in front of us. These stories can become real. They can become our belief system, the root of our belief systems. And ultimately, here's the powerful part, it can become your identity. You can carry it as your identity. And not because it's actually true, but it's because these things are repeated and repeated and repeated, and they begin to actually feel true. And somewhere down the line, you just start believing it. Maybe, you may believe a lot of great things about who you are, but ultimately that could make someone believe things that aren't true. Maybe I'm not intended to, be a leader, or maybe I'm someone who doesn't follow through, or, hey, I'm not good at this, or I'm not good at that. Or maybe I'm not just fit to do the things that I want to do because of those limitations. And then guess what? You don't do any of the things and you don't believe. So what if your self-perception, all those things aren't keeping up with who you're actually trying to become now? I think it's a huge question. May not be able to answer it all the way, but we can poke and prod at it to maybe shed some light on it. So, this idea of ourselves shapes everything in our lives. It can shape the conversations we have, the people we hang around, the opportunity we decide to pursue and not. It can shape how you speak to people. It can shape how you deal with people. And it even shapes what type of futures we allow ourselves to imagine. Completely powerful. Completely powerful. It's who we are. Because it's actually who we've come to believe we actually are. Again, whether it's true or not. And many of us continue to accept that picture and we don't challenge it. We accept it. And it shapes how we interpret everything. The world around us, the conversations we have, everything. And if we don't do well at something, that becomes evidence that, hey, you know what? That story was right. It's absolutely right. That's who I thought it was. But my question here is, what if that's not all the way true? What if it's not reality? What if we're looking at reality, or what if we're looking at life, the world, through an outdated lens? Big question. And what if that outlook is truly the main limitation in limiting us or limiting you in becoming the person you want to be? If any part of this video resonated with you, don't look at this as, a reason to instantly become somebody new, 'cause that's not what it's about or ever about. But maybe you become a little bit more curious, more reflective, curious about maybe some things about your identity that, or your self-perception that you've carried for a long time, and whether some of these things are actually still serving you right here today. Because it's not something that you really like fix or repair. And just like everything else, change is normal and natural, and it's something to be updated and evolved. So, you don't really want to forget things that you've been through, or things that have happened, because that is something that shaped uniquely who you are. But maybe stop treating certain narratives as facts about yourself, especially the unproductive ones. So here's something that I kind of want to nudge and have you think about this week. What is one belief that you have about yourself that maybe is unproductive, that you've never stopped and think about and question? Try to understand where it came from and who gave it to you, and what things reinforced it. Because once you do this, once you are more reflective, what if that story or that picture you've accepted there no longer reflects the person who you're actually trying to become now? What if it's out of alignment? I don't really have that answer for you. You may not right now. It's okay. But I think I don't think I know it's a question worth asking yourself. So just leave it in your thoughts. Leave it in your heart. You don't have to tell anybody. Just think about it. So if you're interested in exploring, some of the psychology behind why we get stuck or don't move forward like we want to, and if you're ready to start moving and ready to maybe gain more self-trust, gain more confidence, gain more momentum, consider subscribing to the channel. I spend a lot of time contemplating on some of these topics, and even professionally, the work I do, and helping people understand, everyday people, understand and get to the roots of what could be blocking their progress. I'm Darren. Be well.